Did you know that in the last decade, the population of Fort Myers grew by nearly 40%? Or that there is only a 1 in 776 chance of you being a victim of violent crime in Port St. Lucie? Today, we will be looking at the 10 best places to live in Florida for 2023. To determine which Floridian cities or towns are the most promising, we examined numerous factors including healthcare, infrastructure, education, natural environment, economy, cost of living, and crime rates. Here is what we found. 10. Fort Myers. Known for its natural beauty and lovely white sand beaches, Fort Myers, also called the City of Palms, is located between Tampa and Miami on Florida's Gulf Coast and is one of the gateways to the Southwest Florida region. Between the years 2010 and 2020, over 20,000 people moved to Fort Myers, and this amounted to a population growth of nearly 24%. Today, the city has a population of about 91,215 residents and is still recognized as one of the fastest-growing cities in the state. So, why is everyone moving to Fort Myers, you may ask? Well, for one, the scenery is second to none. The city attracts most of its crowd with the promise of a great outdoor experience to add to your everyday life. It offers miles of channels for boating and fishing, tons of white sand beaches for relaxation, trails for biking and hiking, and pretty much any other fun activities you can think of. If that's not enough to make you start packing your bags, let's take a look at the numbers. Despite the ever-growing population, the unemployment rate in Fort Myers remains on par with the state's average of 2.7%, a lot better than the national average of 3.7%. This means if you do move here, landing a job should be relatively easy. Overall, Fort Myers is a great place to live and it will only get better. 9. Ocala. Ocala may only be the 54th most populated city in Florida with just 65,047 locals, but it is without a doubt one of the best places to live in the state. Often referred to as the horse capital of the world, Ocala is home to one of the most unique natural attractions in Florida, the Silver Springs State Park. The park houses one of the clearest springs in the country and puts out millions of gallons of crystal water daily. If living in a city that boasts of a picturesque spring is not all that tempting, it might interest you to know that housing costs 6% less in Ocala than Florida's average and 5% less than the national average. In addition to that, the cost of living in the city is generally lower. Living in Ocala means you would be spending about 6% less on food than residents of other Floridian cities, 3% less on healthcare, and 8% less on goods and services. While the numbers are undoubtedly impressive, you should know that that's not all Ocala has to offer. The city has miles of greenery for all sorts of outdoor activities. And if you've ever thought of starting a ranch and living the cowboy way, well, let's just say they don't call Ocala the horse capital for nothing. The city has over 400,000 thoroughbred farms and training centers waiting for you. 8. Port St. Lucie. Port St. Lucie in St. Lucie County is what you can call the most treasured city along Florida's Treasure Coast. The city is located on the southeastern side of the state between Miami and Orlando and is commonly known as the City of All Ages. Being the most populous in the county, the housing market in Port St. Lucie is quite competitive and thus high in cost. However, that might be the only downside to living in this city. There are quite a number of things that make Port St. Lucie one of the best places to live in Florida, and at the top of that list is security. Currently, the city is ranked the second safest place to live in the whole state. According to U.S. News, the chances of getting involved in a violent crime in Port St. Lucie are 1 in 776. Along with being safe and able to sleep with both eyes closed, you also have a good chance of getting a job in the city. The rate of unemployment is at 3.1%, which is better than the national average of 3.7%. Putting aside the numbers, Port St. Lucie will draw you in with its relaxed atmosphere, clean streets, and quiet neighborhoods. The St. Lucie River and beaches around the Atlantic coast add to the value of the city, making it a haven for boaters and a well-known fishing hotspot. Contrary to popular opinion, seaside fun is not the only source of entertainment in Port St. Lucie. The city's rich culture and annual festivals provide clean entertainment for all age groups. 7. Daytona Beach. In the late 80s, Daytona Beach was nicknamed the spring break capital of the world because of all that it had to offer, ranging from unadulterated fun to its breathtaking scenery. And while that nickname is not as popular in this decade, Daytona has managed to hold on to all the perks that it earned in that title. The city is located between Orlando and Jacksonville and is the principal city of the Fun Coast region of Florida. Currently, it is home to a total of 74,975 people. While Daytona has certainly earned its title as the flag city of the Fun Coast, it doesn't run solely on fun. On the inside, the city is more balanced with museums, performing arts centers, antique markets, and outstanding colleges, making it one of the state's more well-rounded cities. The cost of living here is much lower, with housing costs being 9% lower than the national average and 11% lower than in other Florida cities. In addition, healthcare in Daytona is 8% lower than the state's average, the cost of getting food is 9% lower than in other Florida cities, and monthly utilities are about 4% lower than the state's average. With the cost of living in Daytona being so low, you can live right and afford to have fun. The added benefit of living here is, of course, access to the beach itself. 6. Pensacola. If there's one thing the westernmost city in Florida, Pensacola, has over other Florida cities, it is its unrivaled beauty and deep history. Otherwise known as the City of Flags, Pensacola was first home to the Native Americans, then the Spanish, then the French, then the British, and then finally the Americans, hence its 5 flags and rich cultural heritage. If history lessons don't interest you, that is okay because Pensacola boasts of more than just a rich culture. The city is home to a large number of public parks, and it gives you access to numerous beautiful beaches along the Gulf of Mexico. The 5-flagged city's beauty also comes with practicality, as the cost of living here is much lower than the national average. Just the housing market alone is 11% lower than the national average and 12% lower than that of the state. Pensacola is not only one of the best places to raise a family in Florida, both in history and culture, but it is also a great place to grow old in. 5. Tampa. What makes Tampa not only a great place to live but also the 3rd most populated city in Florida is that no other city combines both the laid-back beach lifestyle with the bustle and provisions of a large metropolitan city quite like Tampa. The Big Guava has a population of 394,809, and for most of its residents, living in the city is like being on vacation all year round. You could stay outside all through the year in Tampa because of its pleasant weather, and while at it, you could visit any of the 150 parks in the area that tickle your fancy. Getting a job in the city could be the easiest thing to do, seeing how it has an unemployment rate of only 2.8%, and the cost of living is significantly lower than the national average. Despite its competitive housing market, getting a house in Tampa costs 9% lower than the national average and 10% lower than the state's. The educational system is another impressive aspect of the city. It has one of the largest school districts in the country and incredible learning opportunities. Perhaps the best thing about Tampa is that although it is the 3rd most populated city in the state of Florida, you can still find a quiet place to sit by yourself. 4. Jacksonville. Jacksonville is yet another populous city in the state of Florida. In fact, it is the most populous by far. The River City is the largest Floridian city by area, and it sits near the Atlantic shore, offering a range of culture and beauty to its residents. Jacksonville has a population of 975,177 locals, and at any given time, it houses a significant number of tourists, which is no surprise because in the River City, the fun never ends. Jacksonville keeps both locals and tourists spellbound with its popular shorelines, Amelia Island and Ponte Vedra, and a host of other attractions ranging from white sand beaches and coastlines to museums and theaters. Despite its large population and multiple attractions, Jacksonville boasts of a low cost of living. Its houses cost 14% lower than the national average and 15% lower than the state's. Although transport costs may be on the high side, living in Jacksonville seems to be a dream worth living. 3. Melbourne. After merging with another city called Ocala, it is only natural that the harbor city Melbourne became one of the best cities to live in the state. The city's population of 86,400 people all enjoy access to the 155-mile-long Indian River Lagoon that separates the Space Coast from the Atlantic Ocean, so seaside fun is always a thing of certainty. The city of Melbourne is an easygoing metropolis with a charming small-town appeal. Moving to Melbourne would mean trading in high-rise condos for beaches and outdoor recreation, and you will enjoy every minute of it. Being a booming metropolis, Melbourne boasts of mouth-watering employment opportunities and has a very low unemployment rate of 2.7%. Transportation all over the city is another thing worth noting, as the map work of highways across the city makes it easy to move around. The public transport system is also of good quality and is made available by the Space Coast Area Transit, making it easier on your expenses. Add this to the fact that the cost of living here is much lower in the state and country, and it is easy to see why Melbourne is the third best place to live in Florida come 2023. 2. Naples. It really doesn't get much better than Naples. Not the Italian city, but the one in Collier County, the golf capital of the world. Over the years, Naples has been referred to by many as a tropical playground for the rich and powerful, and we couldn't agree more. Currently, Naples is the safest place to live in the entire country, according to U.S. News, and while good security is reason enough to move there, that is not all the city has to offer. The city of Naples has a population of 19,031 locals, and these locals enjoy the luscious beaches, the backwaters and bays, as well as the other attractions that the city has to offer. In addition to its breathtaking scenery, Naples boasts of a competitive real estate market, tourism, and a job market that is considered to be one of the best in the country. Although the cost of living here is on the high side, the city of Naples more than makes up for this with the perks it offers. And seeing how the city is home to a significant number of retirees, it is safe to say that Naples is indeed the best place to grow old in. 1. Sarasota. Just south of Tampa and north of Fort Myers is the city of Sarasota, arguably the best city to live in Florida come 2023. Sarasota, the city where, as they say, urban amenities meet small-town living, has a population of 55,426 residents, all of whom enjoy the city's unique charm. Packed full of renowned opera houses, fine dining locations, museums, rooftop bars, beaches, and resorts, the city of Sarasota simply has everything a city could offer. With a quality of life to die for, the city also has a low unemployment rate of only 2.5%. While the cost of living may be a little higher than the state and national average due to it being such a popular place to live, that seems to be a good price to pay for the best city in Florida. What about the best places to live in America for 2023? Check out the video we made on that topic right here.